Hey guys, Up and Adam here. Look where I am. That's right, we're working. So today, big day for the province of New Brunswick. The government lifted the restrictions on Crown land. I don't know if you guys understand it or not, but the restrictions that are on our forestry sector are still in place. They're just changed a little bit. So I didn't want to make a big jump and say, okay, every little thing that the government said, we're going to jump on it, come up with a little idea, conspiracy theory, anything like that. I was going to wait, make sure that I had the facts to give you guys. And now I'm here. I know what's going on. I know what went down. I've got information from other companies. I've got what I needed to give you the facts. I can't educate people about the forestry industry if I don't have the facts. So that's why I waited. And we can now hash through it. Now, first of all, the restrictions that are removed as of midnight a few hours ago, those restrictions were things like the trails, the hiking, all that stuff are restricted. But you can still, you still have the burn ban. Now, the burn ban, you'll see it online all the time. You can go on to the GNB DNR website, I call it. It says Forest Fire Watch there. You click on it and it shows a map of the province. And that map of the province shows all the different counties. And it'll show red, green, or yellow. Now, if it shows red, it's no burn, which is a burn ban in that area. Now, it goes by county. Northumberland County, York County, whatever. It shows all that by county. And that gets updated every day at 2 o'clock. Nothing new. That's been on there. I followed that for a long time. So you can check that. That's for things like brush fires, like if you got brush to burn, bonfires, you got wood to burn off, I don't know, whatever else you want to burn. It tells you all about campfires and stuff if you can, you can go through it there if you want to check it out, but it's updated at 2 o'clock every day for New Brunswick. So, the other restrictions that they released to let people hike and all that stuff, they, from what I heard, they said that, the cooler temperatures, chances of starting a fire were getting less and less. The fires that we have in New Brunswick are starting to be contained and under control. And I don't know if you can see out my window there, it was raining. It rained most of the evening since I got here tonight. And where I'm working, I would say that there's a lot of rain, because when I came in, the puddles, there's water holes full. And when I got here, it rained probably, I know it rained way into past midnight. So we'll take it. Things are looking wet. I'm hoping that's going to be good. We're not opened up fully, but that's just where I want to show you guys what's going on in the forestry area. So in New Brunswick, what you guys saw after that first shutdown was about a week after you started seeing log trucks. I know, I seen it, seen on Facebook. I knew it was happening because I was told, but there was a few mills that were going to suffer because of certain restrictions. They wanted to work together with the mills, and it's not only Irving. Irving may have been one of them, but there's not only Irving. There's more mills in New Brunswick than Irving, and but the main name out there was Irving, and they did this, they did that. Whatever happened, there was mills in trouble, and those mills employ a lot of people. So you take a mill in our local area that, I don't know how many, a couple hundred people or more would be could lose their jobs. That's going to affect our area big time. And they came up with a plan to possibly make things roll, maybe not smoothly, but allow things to roll. So the first thing that they did was allow trucks to haul wood off private ground. Private or freehold. Those two things are basically the same thing. And we just use the term freehold in the logging industry, but freehold and private are the same thing. And most of the mills all across New Brunswick have freehold ground. That's their own ground they've purchased, invested in over the years. Maybe they planted, they did that. They have a lot. I know Irving has a lot. There's other mills. A.V. Nackwick has a lot. Crab Lumber has a lot. I'm not really sure how the mills on the other side of the province handle theirs, but anyway, the freehold and private, there's a fair amount of it out there. So when you first saw log trucks going, those log trucks were hauling wood off private ground. The restriction on that right off the bat was that had to be wood that was piled at the roadside and couldn't be, you couldn't have a machine running to get more wood to the road. So in our terms, you couldn't have a porter operating the block to take more wood to the road so you'd have more to truck. That doesn't mean that maybe there's 15 blocks that might be on freehold or private, and those blocks all have wood sitting on them. So if they were to finish up one block, they could move to another block. As long as it was on private or freehold, that the trucking was allowed. Okay, so that's the first thing that happened. I know people got in an uproar about it. How come I see log trucks, all that? The decision was made. That's it. Arguments, I know the other restrictions on hiking and all that stuff, people like to play into that. I'm only covering the logging part. So that decision was made first. That kept some mills going, kept people employed, didn't do as much damage as it could have if the whole industry was shut down for, let's say, 3 weeks or a month. Next, after that, for a while, I'm not sure how long that trucking thing lasted. I think the next step went to some harvesting, portering operations. Now, what they did was allow some companies, not by name, they allowed them by district or by area to do some harvesting. Now, that's under strict restrictions. And those restrictions are what we fell under for the last who knows how long that we are used to. We're accustomed to these restrictions. When we shut down in logging for forest fire or dry conditions or anything, they had a lot of the same rules, and this is what was followed. So, what were those rules? First of all, for anybody interested in trying to harvest on Crown land, even though their machine was probably sitting there already, or they wanted to resume operations, they had to apply to the DNR, which is the Department of Natural Resources, and they are the governing body for Crown land, and they had to apply for a permit to work in the area that they wanted to work in to get their machines working. Not all areas were allowed, and that was for reasons like, they couldn't do it in Miramichi because there was a fire here, there. Anywhere there was a high risk because there was already an active fire, those places didn't open up. So certain places got opened. Now, the ones that got opened, once they obtained a permit, also were given an appendix of safety regulations that they wanted followed, and they wanted followed to a T. Now, those restrictions are mostly the same restrictions that we put on ourselves anyway. We already have certain things we do during fire season, and most of them fall under the same with an exception of a few. So let's go through them. First of all, if you're traveling to the site, you're going to need a pickup, right? So in your pickup, they wanted, according to this appendix, every pickup was to have a fire extinguisher, 20 pounds, and charged, obviously. Back tank, so I've shown you a backpack tank in one of my other videos that was full of water, and it'll hold quite a bit. I don't know if it's 20 liters or how many in it, but they had to be full, and they had to be able to be used. And the other thing is we needed, or that the appendix required, was a shovel. So that was what was on the pickup trucks. So anybody that was interested in working or that was cleared to work as with the permit had to have those things on their trucks. Once they got to the site had to have a certain amount of water, water tanks, porter tanks, stuff like that. And some sites that were given permission to have multiple machines on it. From what I understand, some companies put fire trucks. Most forestry companies have their own fire gear, so they put like a water pump truck there on site because there was more gear, and why not? So they covered the basis and then some. Besides the water, the porter tanks and stuff there. The porter can pick the tanks up, set them on the back of the porter, drive to where the fire would be, start the pump, start the water, get things rolling. They had to have a certain amount of hose there. I think it was 300 feet. I'm not 100% sure, but most of them have that in them. And let me see. Once they were actually allowed to start working, they could only work from the time of 8 p.m. to 10 a.m. the next day with what we call a 3-hour fire watch. So in the past, anytime I've ever done it, there was a 1-hour time lot of fire watch. So basically you would take your machine to the road, fuel it, grease it, do your service work, all that, and then by the time you were done, you had an hour in, and that hour was good. You covered your ground, you made sure there was no embers and everything within that hour, you left. This time they wanted 3 hours. So let's say somebody went in to go to work, run a harvester, work from 8 to 6. So at 8 o'clock till 6, they're within the timeline. But at 6 o'clock, when they shut down and take their machine to the road, they have to have it shut off and then do their thing, whatever. But then they had to have a 3-hour fire watch after the machine was shut off. Okay. So that required either somebody else to come in and do fire watch, or that person stayed, or you could do like an overlap shift. So like, say you had a harvester working till 6, maybe the porter guy come in at, we'll say, if he came in at midnight or whatever, yarded till 6, and then did a 3-hour fire watch because he had to shut down too. You could do a 3-hour fire watch from 6 to 9. That porter man could sit there till 9 o'clock and, kind of watch for fire or whatever, and then he'd go home. But if he started his machine after that, like at 7 o'clock, then he had to go 3 hours from that time. So there was always a 3 hours time lapse to do fire watch after the machine is shut down. So that was the first opening for some areas, some companies, and they also had to make sure that they had that, had the permit on them, carried it, all that stuff, and that was strictly enforced. It's typical. Most forestry companies do the same. The next thing is what they've done now, and this is what's happening right now. So as of last night, midnight, they removed the restrictions on the Crown land. So all of the stuff that the public couldn't do, that's, I think, as far as I know, that's all gone. But the restrictions on forestry remained with a few changes. So the main one right now that has changed is I'm allowed to work from 6 p.m. till dinner time the next day. Not that I'm going to, but the machines can operate from 6 to 12. Which is great because there's a lot of lads not working. A lot of lads took layoffs. They couldn't operate 2 machines because most of us normally run 10 to 12 hours. And one shift was all you could get. So the other part of the crew was laid off. So, like a partner or whatever, one partner got laid off, the other one worked. Maybe, if your machine like mine was sitting in an area, if that area wasn't cleared to work, then you had to take a layoff. There was nothing you could do. if there was only so much work going around in those private areas or whatever, or the crown areas that were allowed, all that stuff. So there were still, a fair amount of people that weren't working. But now this restriction of 6 p.m. to 11:59 a.m. So that's basically noon. You can work with the 3-hour watch. That gives 18 hours of possible work, which is really good for the guys that got laid off, because if they can go back to work, then they could split shifts and do like 2 9s. So 2 9-hour shifts is better than nothing. So I'm assuming that a lot of the guys are back to work. I haven't heard. I'm back to work. That's great. Now the change in restrictions, other than the time on this one, and the only thing that I have understood, because my supervisor told me when he called me today or yesterday, was if I'm working near a railway track or a power line, I have to, or he has to, notify the I think it's the local authority for, in case there's a fire or something, they have to know how to get here. In case I have to call 911 or something that way. That's fine. He was going to take care of that, and I got my gear, and here we are working. So that's the main changes on this little bit as of today. Yes, the province opened all the other stuff. Like I said, here it's raining. It's been raining off and on all night, but it rained hard for a long time. Just till past midnight it rained all the drive here. It rained a fair amount because there's, like I said, everything's pretty saturated out here. But that's where I am. I'm in a, kind of a mountain range, middle of nowhere. That doesn't mean the whole province got it. That's not how it works. We don't have full cloud cover in the whole province. It could be raining here and not rain at my house. And I know at my house we didn't get a whole lot of rain. But that's good. Maybe, hopefully, we can get things opened up fully. I'd love to get back to working day shift again. But for now, this is what I can do. So here I am, trying to keep a paycheck, or trying to earn a paycheck, I should say. So hopefully that kind of brought a little clarity to you. Not everything's completely opened. They're just taking a little more extra precaution, just because there's still some fires that are active. They were trying to get everything going. We got through it. I know it was tough. I know people had a hard time. But in relation to the logging industry, that's where we're at right now. I'm thinking that the next time they have an update for us in the logging industry, you may not even hear it. The public, if it doesn't really matter to the public or understand to the public, and the loggers are working, then once they open it back up, they're just going to tell us. You might not hear it on the news or anything like that, but you may. I'm not sure. And we'll get the call to say, okay, she's opened up full. You can go back to normal hours or whatever. But for now, we're allowed to work 6 p.m. to dinner time the next day. There's a 6-hour shutdown during the day. To me, makes more sense. If you're only doing 6 hours, you might as well open it right up and have people on site during those parts of the day now. We're not getting the 40-degree weather. We're not getting the high. We do get the wind, but the wind with a little bit of mix of rain. I think it's calling for showers and rain the rest of the next 3 or 4 days. The forecast is changing pretty good. Not only that, most of our rain this time of year comes from like a hurricane season that comes up through the States. And when the hurricanes hit, they come up the Atlantic, hit New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and bring a lot of rain. So once the hurricane season now, you've probably seen it on the news, Hurricane Air and all that. Once that's underway, we're going to start seeing more rain based on that alone. So hopefully we don't get to the point where we're just drowning in mud and water, but things are looking up. Like I said, I'd like to get back. I'd like to get working my regular shift again. For now, this is what we're doing. Hope I brought some clarity to you again. If you got any questions, drop a line. Go ahead, share the video. I want to educate everybody as much as possible on things that are happening. And yeah, hopefully this sheds some light. So until next time, or until I go back to work full time in the daytime, happy you guys have a good one. Enjoy the air, enjoy the walking, enjoy the hiking, and we'll see you next time. Catch you later for now.